time with a new child, we have to get up throughout the night multiple times, and getting up throughout the night is hard. The motivation level, very low. Very low. The alarm goes up, beep, beep, and you're like, I slept for half an hour, mercy. You open your eyes, they're watering. You try to get out of bed, you stub your toe, you're like, I hate my life. You come up to your beautiful child, my sweet, beautiful baby girl, and you're like, why you torture me like this? But you have to feed them on the regular, otherwise they die. That's not good. You don't want that. You want your sweet, beautiful baby child to continue with the whole existing thing. That's the goal. So you wake up and live the dream. Literally, dream walk through life. It's all just a haze now. But you live the dream, grab the baby, just pick him up, take him out, and you feed him. Now, 30 minutes sleep, it is the luxury. It's the limit of the luxury. One thing that we found has been helping us get through the night has been cooking shows. That's right. We have taken the plunge to putting on trashy, terrible cooking shows in the background while we feed the baby. We've got our beautiful, stunning, marvelous Iron Chef shows. The Final Table, which is another one. It's like Netflix. It's not the Iron Chef. It's completely different in some ways to the Iron Chef. So there's these various cooking shows, and that's what we've been using essentially to keep ourselves motivated. So we'll get up and we'll be like, it's okay. We want to see what they do with the secret ingredient anyway. Sea urchin. I didn't even know you could eat that, but apparently you can. And I just don't know if Team America's going to make it this time. That's the thing. So we'll get up and we'll put it on sleepily, and we'll be like, okay, this is giving us a bit of motivation. Obviously we have the motivation, we want to feed the child anyway, don't get it twisted, but that's the context here, because it's not something we used to do. We didn't really watch cooking shows in the past, but we do now. We want something we won't get too attached to, something that doesn't require brain, because brain don't function at 2 a.m. in the morning. It doesn't. We just want something straightforward. So that's what we do. We get up and we put on the Iron Chef, the Final Table, whatever it is. And I found this has had a flow-on effect in life. Has anyone here found this? Like when you watch these shows, you can't just cook anymore. Like you go to make your morning breakfast and you're like, it's Wheat Bix with milk, but is it? Let me lay out the Wheat Bix in a specific way. When I put the milk on top, I stir it round. This is so that I can get the correct consistency. Let's angle it because food is art. It just changes the way that you prepare your food at home. And you start running this internal dialogue, because obviously these chefs are out there and they're cooking on these shows, and they're like, and the acidity and the various notes and tones of the food. And so when you're at home and you're making your scrambled eggs, you're like, I have to make sure I get the tones of the scrambled egg right. I get this almost voiceover in my head. Now she is cracking the egg. Oh no, it seems like a piece of eggshell has gotten into the egg. Now she's going to have to fish that out of the egg. Will she still manage to make it on time? Okay, she's fishing out the eggshell. Now the yolk is broken too. This is a catastrophe. The yolk is all over her fingers now, and the eggshell won't come off either. And she's on top of the bin flicking her hand, but the eggshell is stuck. Will she go to the sink and wash it off? Will she lose egg yolk in the process? You start getting these voiceovers in your head. At least I do. Need to say it out loud. Oh yeah, that's right. We need to say everything out loud. My husband Patrick, he will love it. The baby will grow up thinking that's normal, and they'll do that in their life, and we're not going to scar them forever. No, not at all. But yeah, I'm stirring a few puns. But it's become a thing in our life, and because of that, and because I am who I am, I have overthunk these cooking shows. I have overthunk it. You know, when you think about something and then you think about it a bit more, and then you get to a stage where you've kind of overthunk it. Now you've thunk too much. You have thunk it beyond where it should have been thunked. That's where I am now. I've overthunk these shows. And I've realized that there are not one, not two, not three, but four issues with these shows. 4 issues. And the first one is that it's really obvious on the outset, but you get like quite invested when you watch these shows. Gordon, thank you for joining. Food is subjective. One person's favorite dish is another person's least favorite dish. And I mean, even beyond dishes, ingredients themselves are subjective. Some people like them, some people don't. So, you know, you get on these cooking shows and you get people being like, it's too sweet. You got someone else that'll go there and they'll probably say, this one's sugary, I love it. You know, it's varied. Do you guys know about coriander and aniseed? Coriander and aniseed. Coriander / cilantro. In some places, in the world, they call it cilantro. It's a type of herb, or as some call it, herb, because they don't know how to pronounce words. And cilantro is this interesting herb where a subsection of the population tastes it as soap. It's a genetic thing. It's been linked to a genetic thing now. If you have this particular response to cilantro, it means that you have this genetic predisposition to taste it like soap. I hate to break it to you, but the majority of the world eats cilantro or coriander, and it does not taste like soap. It tastes like green thing. It's the best word I can use to describe it, because for me, it doesn't taste like soap. It tastes like green thing. Rothgar, you like the taste of soap? You do you, boo-boo. You do you, boo-boo. So, you know, Eggy Boy says, if you're a judge and if I was a judge and you gave me mushrooms, you're out. So some people don't like mushrooms. Coriander and cilantro, though, that's like a documented thing. Some people they cannot taste it without getting the impression that they're eating soap. Aniseed or licorice is also similar. Aniseed / licorice has a very similar thing as well, where some people enjoy the flavor and it's a delicious licorice flavor, and some people, it is just the most repulsive, hideous thing they've ever tasted. And again, it is a genetic thing. Like, you either can taste it or you taste this disgusting flavor that is not the thing that the rest of the world is feeling. So that really just kind of highlights the subjectivity. There's, you know, Daughter of Q says, I'm ew licorice. Patrick, my husband, cannot stand coriander or cilantro, and also cannot stand licorice or aniseed. So much so that while I was pregnant, I was going out of my way to eat licorice in the hope that means that when the baby's born, they will have a taste for it, and rather than a repulsion to it. It's a thing. And these ingredients are very common in certain dishes, especially if you're looking at cilantro / coriander. There are certain cuisines, let me just throw a couple out there, like Mexican, Vietnamese, in fact most Asian cuisines, Indian cuisine, they use a lot of this particular herb. It's like a core flavor in their food. But if cilantro tastes like soap to you, it's not going to go well, no matter what. It's a subjectivity. People like certain things, people don't like other things. The other thing I found is that these shows have this really immaculate system of choosing judges for the show. They'll always have like an actual food critic there. And the actual food critic is their own form of hilarious. I'll get to that in a moment. But most of the time, at least one of the judges will be some random celebrity that has no knowledge about cooking or food or being a chef or anything like that. So they'll have like some actor or sports star or a model or a blogger or something like that. And you'll have like a food critic and you'll have this actor or model or whatever. And they'll go around and they'll taste the food and they'll be like, it has chili in it. And you're like, yeah, Frank, it has chili in it. It's very hot for me, so I don't like it. Yes, Frank, I see your point. Thank you for the constructive criticism, Frank. And you've always got these judges on there that have no idea what they're talking about. So whatever they try, it's just it's kind of like, me. Just standing there spouting garbage. I really think it's the textures that you need to work on. The textures, and I think the acidic tones and the sweet notes of the various ingredients. I'm a cricketer. It's the same as a lot of judges on talent shows. That's right. An actor critiquing a juggler. In general, I think we all know now that reality TV is not about the contestants. It is about the judges. That's really just what it comes down to at the end of the day. But I just think that's another major issue with these cooking shows. Firstly, it's entirely subjective. Secondly, the judges are mostly unqualified. The ones that are qualified are hilarious because food critics are brilliant. I just love them as a species. They're fabulous. They're exquisite. I adore them. The way that they take things so intensely seriously, it brings joy to my soul. I have a love and an affinity for people who are obsessive over weird things. I feel like we get along. Like that guy that dedicated their entire channel to koi fish on YouTube and is just obsessed with koi fish. Or like that other person who bought like 700 fry pans and measures them and wants to see like the exact density of the middle of the fry pan to get the perfect fry pan. It's like, dude, it's a fry pan and it's a fat fish. But I'm glad it brings joy. I'm glad and you bring joy to me with your joy for these random things. And these food critics will sit there and they'll be like, you see the texture of the capsicum. The texture of the capsicum, it's always very difficult. There is a certain point between crunchy and soft, between hot and cold, where you have reached the mecca of the capsicum. And at this point, if you take a bite, you reach enlightenment. It elevates you. And I have to say, in this particular capsicum, the sweetness is overpowering of the acidity. And you're like, dude, it's a capsicum. It's a capsicum. As a paprika. Move on. But they give joy. They spark joy. So you got unqualified judges, subjective judging in the first place. The third obvious issue, and this is something that I think is particularly an issue with these being Netflix shows, is that you can't taste food through a TV. You can't taste food through a TV. You can see it, but you cannot taste it. So like, You need to get all of your information from Frank the cricketer and from Claudette with their in-depth analysis of the tones of the capsicum. You need to get all your information from these two drongos to figure out whether the contestant has done a good job or not. So you're there watching and you're like, yeah, I agree. Yeah, the acidity is... What am I even saying? I have no idea what's going on. That could taste like absolute garbage. But it also means in the world of reality TV, if they want to get rid of, Team America or Team Red or whatever team it is that's competing, because, they're not entertaining enough, they're not bringing in the viewers, they can just tell the judges, make some shit up about the capsicum so we can eliminate them. And they could do that, because no one can taste it through the TV anyway. And finally, the fourth thing that is an issue with these shows is probably the biggest issue of all. Can you guess what it is? Can you guess what the biggest issue is? Yep. It's the fact that I am not a judge on one of these shows. I am not a judge on one of these shows. Because I believe this sort of career was made for me. You know what I mean? If anyone here is listening and is putting together the next episode of Iron Chef Australia, can you imagine Iron Chef Australia? Yes, I was trying to make Vegemite Sanger, and I saw Charlene's team over there. They put butter. That's not going to fly with a true Australian. We didn't put any butter on ours. Yeah, Bazzer over there, he got his knife stuck in the jar. That's going to be trouble. But yeah, I'm alright. Yeah, the white bread, I've got the Vegemite. I think it's nice. I'm going to plate it up on the paper plate. Yeah, there. Yeah. I reckon we're going to make it. It would be great. Can you imagine the challenges? Vegemite sandwich. Sausage sizzle. Actually, that's it. That's all they do. Australian Iron Chef done. The secret ingredient this week is VB. That's it. Which regional accent is that? Queensland. I just upset a state of Australia. Good. Anyhow, just putting the vote out there. I should be a judge on a food channel. But I have also broken things down, because if for whatever reason one of you guys watching right now ends up as a competitor on one of these shows, I want you to win. I want you to win at life, because I care. And I've come up with the ultimate strategy for winning these shows. Because think about it. You can't taste the food. Everything is entirely subjective, right? So if you go on one of these shows, they're going to do your whole backstory. One day she was born, everyone cried, they went through trauma, no one loved them, everyone cried, but they came through on top. They started their restaurant, and now they've overcome the adversities. Everyone cries again, but this time they cry, they're happy. They have the whole backstories, you got the sob story, and they're going to give you a little bit of coverage. I don't mean that in an OnlyFans way. I mean that as in, they're going to show your restaurant. If you have a restaurant and your restaurant is called the Waggling Tail, they're going to show the Waggling Tail. They're going to show a photo or a video of the outside of your restaurant. They're going to show you in your restaurant cooking the dish or whatever it is. It is a PR opportunity, right? And the only way you win in one of these shows is by using it as free advertising for your restaurant, really, to be honest. Because no one cares who wins the show. No one cares. This is not Australia's Got Talent Idol factor. This is not Australia's Got Talent Idol factor. You're cooking a capsicum. Capsicum tastes like capsicum, even if the acidity and the tones are different. It's okay, Frank. So what you really want to do is use this as a free promo for your restaurant. And because no one can taste the food anyway, and it's all subjective, I think the very first thing you need to do is don't try to win. That sounds like counterintuitive, but hear me out. If you've ever watched one of these shows, you get the competitors that are like super trying to win and they're like super concentrated and they're like, I'm gonna cook and it's gonna be amazing. And when they get kicked out, they're like crying and they're like, this was my dream and my dreams have been shattered forever and I cry and I'm sad and I came over the adversity and I triumphed, but now I cry again, but again it is the sad. And no one cares. And those people real irritating. They're real irritating. They seem grumpy. They seem all concentrated. And when they're all sad, they seem entitled. It's like, what made you think you were going to win anyway? I could taste those tones of the capsicum through the screen and I knew the acidity was wrong. Like, then they don't get it. They don't get it across properly. So the way to win is to really get your personality across. Just make yourself seem like this really cool, fun person that's really interesting. Put it into the dish. You know, when you're making steak, serve it with fairy floss. What is it this time? It's minestrone, but you make it with liquid nitrogen and food coloring. It's rainbow colored now. You know, make it interesting because then people are like, that person's quirky. I want to go to their restaurant. And that's what you want to get from this. Even if you get kicked out, it's fine. It's fine. Especially if you get kicked out on a challenge that's not your comfort zone. Which, you know, is every challenge. Every challenge. If you watch any of these shows, it's every challenge. One of the things I found hilarious is they'll bring someone in and they'll be like giving the whole backstory. 700 Michelin stars in Japan. Everyone in Japan goes to their restaurant, named best chef in Japan. Mecca of Japanese cuisine. I am very passionate about making my food as Japanese. And your challenge today is British food featuring peas. You see the Japanese person be like, what? Huh? Peas? They make their dish. They make this delicious, amazing, like, you know, sushi ramen dish with peas. And then the British judge is there being like, see, I was just hoping you'd boil them. That's how I grew up eating it. You know, I tasted Billy's there. He just boiled the peas and it reminded me of my childhood. Like, whatever you do, you're a fish out of water. So when you get thrown out, you can eventually be like, you know, I was so glad to be a part of this competition. Obviously, being a Japanese chef that's allergic to peas, it was very difficult for me to do this challenge, but I just put my all into it, and I'm glad to have had this opportunity. Done. No one will judge you for getting kicked out. No one will judge you. If you're there crying, being like, I tried so hard and then I came so far, in the end, it didn't ever matter. No one likes you anymore. You're boring and you cry too much. Harden up. Harden up. So there's my top strategy. Actually, that's my second strategy. I'll give you the top strategy because the second most important thing you can do is get your personality across. Use it as an advert. You know, bring along like your best sales face. But the top strategy is, drum roll please, fall over. I'm not even kidding. Fall over. Watch these shows with a discerning eye rather than trying to pick up the acidity of the capsicum through the screen and listening to Frank the cricketer's thoughtful deconstruction of the fajita. Instead, watch these shows and you'll see the people fall over all the time. They get excited. They're running to get the secret ingredient and then they trip. But there is this massive correlation. And I think that there needs to be some data scientists put onto this. That you need to get some data scientists coming to this, with their lab coats and their measurement tools. Because there is a correlation between falling over and winning. I think it's because the judges are like, oh, look at the poor sod, they can't even walk. And they feel sorry for you, and then they give you a better result. Because again, it's all subjective and they make it all up anyway. But it's like, oh, Gerald, look at him. He took 2 steps and then his face was gone with the floor. Oh, poor Gerald. He got to the pantry eventually, but he had to do it on all fours. And then you feel for him and you're like, yeah, I'm going to give them a good score. Anyhow, I'm hoping to create an alternative to Iron Chef. Rather than Iron Chef cooking, it'll be Iron Chef cleanup. Iron Chef cleanup. Ali, thank you for joining. Guten Tag. Because think about it. There's all this cooking, and imagine all the mess that's left over. So much mess. Budget friendly. You don't even have to have a whole setup for this show. You just steal the Iron Chef setup. Once they've finished cooking, once Iron Chef is done, Iron Chef cleanup just kind of moves in. The film crews swap over, and you get some new contestants. You get the new contestants. Yeah, my name's Billy. I dropped out of school to smoke pot all day, and lived with my parents till I was 47, and then they kicked me out. Now I need to find a job, and I don't have anything on my resume, so I was like, oh, I can't do anything. And then my parents said, go become a cleaner, because apparently you can do that without a resume. So I'm here for the cleaning show. I don't have skills, and yeah, I just want some money for rent and pot. Yeah. Hi, my name is Cheryl. I had dreams once. I went to school. I was one of the top students in school. I was going to become a doctor. And then Derek impregnated me, and I had 4 of his children, and then my career, it never took off. Instead, I was a mum. I did everything. Derek did nothing. I had 4 boys. All I wanted was a girl, and I had 4 boys, and all of them looked like Derek. And when they come into the kitchen and they're like, Mom, I'd like a roll up, I look at them and I see Derek, and I think murderous thoughts, but I don't do anything about it, but I just think them. And now they're old enough that I've kicked them out of home, and I'm just at home with Derek, and I don't want to be at home with Derek. I look at him and I can't look at him anymore. So I've decided I want to get a job, but obviously there are no jobs going right now for people who dropped out of school at the age of 15 to have Derek's stupid ass kids. So here I am for the cleaning show, to become a cleaner. Yeah, dreams do come true. I'm Melvin. I have severe OCD. I don't like mess. Mess is my enemy. So I always knew that cleaning was my calling, because I do it by default. Whenever I see things, I feel compelled to clean them. I must clean everything. I have an edge on other competitors because I've been cleaning everything I see since I was born. I live in a room with nothing in it. It still gets dusty sometimes. And that's why I can't sleep, because I think about this all night. I think about the dust. I reckon this would be a really entertaining show. Can you just imagine all these contestants coming in to clean Iron Chef cleaning? I reckon it's gonna take off. What do you think? I reckon it'll be good. Put them in teams. Cheryl is in a team with, what did I name the first guy? I've already forgotten. Like, oh my God, they remind me of Derek too. We've never had a murder on a reality show before, but now we have. I don't know. We can't stop Melvin. He's cleaning the other people's tables. I reckon it's gonna be good. Yeah. Post this one to YouTube, straight to a pitch meeting for the Australian big TV networks. I think so. No, Melvin, that's not how this works. Anyway, there we go. A little bit of a rant about food shows, because that's been on my mind. Iron Chef homicide. Can you imagine? We've got another contestant. Let's call them Matthias. I knew that I wanted to be a cleaner when I swear I didn't steal anything. I didn't steal anything. I like cleaning. I like going to people's houses and judging them. Cleaning. That's I knew I wanted to be a cleaner. And what are you doing, Matthias? Matthias, are you stealing the props from the set? No, I'm not stealing the props from this. I'm not stealing the props from the set. It'll be great. I really do hope this show happens to.
Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and notification bell, because clicking things is fun. If you want to see the full versions of these Twitch streams, then you can on my channel, twitch.tv/MaryAmber. And if you want to catch VODs, if you've missed streams, then check out my Patreon, Ninja Club, patreon.com/MaryAmber.